bad Larry.
This is exactly how I feel Daredevil should be depicted in every comic, this exact proportional style. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bad Larry Kingdom. I'm your host, Bad Larry. Today we're checking out Daredevil issue number 4. And you know I always love to include the variant covers. The one in the middle with the 69%. This is my favorite, even though I loathe soccer. I think it's the most dynamic. I think it's cool. The proportions, Daredevil looks like he's sliding right at you. The other two comics have Daredevil looking so ridiculous in his proportions. He shouldn't be that big. 4 issues in, and I'm just realizing this little miniseries is called Tomorrow's Devil by Stephanie Phillips and Lee Garbett. Basically, the Omen is hunting down people. He's a serial killer. He's stealing people's eyeballs. Now let's check out the cast and who's in this issue. If this is your first time checking out this series, well, this is who's in this series. The Dominic, Harlan, well, Dominic and Mark, the dude with the mustache, are cops. Harlan, he's a sleazeball billionaire guy. Omen and the Owl are bad guys. Sari Ellison's another professor. Obviously, Jack Murdock is Daredevil's father, and Stick is who trained Daredevil as a kid. Stephanie Phillips is trying to do something clever here, telling two stories in one. You see the visual story with Jack Murdock, Daredevil's father, having a fight, getting kind of beat up, and then you have the actual story, which is the words, where Daredevil is talking about his life is a collection of moments. And the purpose of this duality of stories is to try and tie Matt Murdock and Jack Murdock, their lives together. Even though they led very different lives, we see Jack Murdock here decided to win the fight and not lose, which he was told to do, while Matt Murdock is putting together all these little micro details that all these events is what makes up your life, all of these little decisions. And Stephanie Phillips wraps up or tries to tie up both of Matt Murdock and Jack Murdock's lives with the past is always present, meaning all of Jack Murdock's decisions to get in with the mob has led him to where he was, getting shot in the back. And then Matt Murdock, his decisions to train and become a superhero, well, he's also down and out. So it's a way to connect Matt and Jack and their history, their genealogy, almost as if they share a similar destiny. Which is why we transition right into the present, where we see Daredevil in a similar situation as his father, down and out, face down. But the difference is that where we were talking about the past, this character, the bad guy, Omen, is all concerned about the future. Everything about Daredevil is duality, juxtaposition. He's a walking oxymoron. He's Catholic, but he calls himself a daredevil. He's all about saving people, but devils are the ones that tempt people. He can't see with his eyes, but he sees everything better than people who can see with their eyes. It's a bit on the nose that everything in this storyline revolves around eyes. Daredevil can't see with his eyes. The Omen is a serial killer who takes out people's eyes as some sort of sacrifice to see the future. And now we're seeing him talk about sin enters through the eyes first, which again, it's all tied together. And maybe this is because Daredevil can't see that he's being portrayed as someone, not only without fear, but without sin. And if you miss it, the duality shows up here again. We started with Matt Murdock's actual father beating somebody up, and he's learning lessons from that fight. And now you have a father in the priesthood trying to give Matt Murdock some pointers in life, saying that he's going to be a great man, all while he's getting choked the heck out. And he's also doubting himself. And that's where the duality comes in, where Matt Murdock as Daredevil can only do so much, but he is still a man of faith and a man of law. And so, how is he going to get out of this situation? Being choked out by the Omen? And then this is the faith aspect of Daredevil's connection with duality. He does what he can, and what's poignant is that the Father here is saying only God sees the road ahead of us, where the Omen, as a bad guy, is saying that he can see the future. Well, only God can see the future, and you have to just, like he says, take one step at a time. But who is it that saved Daredevil? You'll have to wait a second or so before I answer that, as we turn to the cops, Dominic and his old partner, Mr. Mustachio. Well, Dominic is not great at shooting guns, so he has to take his little shooting exam over again. And he's like, why do I got to do this? This Dominic is a little bit too much brainiac and less about the tough cop aspect. So that's where you see these two arguing. You got the old style and the new style. And at the Empire State University, where Matt Murdock teaches, this character, Harlan Vale, who's speaking, he's a super rich philanthropist type. Well, he's going to just give all of these phones and all of these computers to the school, of course, for free. And the point is, he's going to be able to spy on everything everybody's doing and be able to control who can say what and what information is passed. So it's all about control. This guy's the archetypical villain billionaire. So last time we saw Daredevil, he was saved by obviously the owl shooting the Omen. And this is interesting because we talked about faith saving Daredevil. Well, obviously God had to change the owl's heart to be able to save Daredevil, even though he's chained him up. The owl could have just let the Omen kill Daredevil. The owl could have killed Daredevil himself at that same moment or even now. So why did he save him? Well, as much praise as I gave Stephanie Phillips up to this point, this page or this frame and the next don't make any sense. Now the owl is pulling a gun on Daredevil, saying it wasn't a rescue, it's an investment, because he's getting backlash from the street saying that he's Daredevil's bitch. Well, why not just kill him? I don't get the motivation here. And now he's starting to whip him up. Maybe he's thinking that he's gonna have him hang here and bring his crew around to show that he's more powerful than Daredevil. But if that's the case, why not just shoot him and then have his dead body where everyone could see? I don't get this part, because you're now giving Daredevil an opportunity to escape, which he does, and this gives the artist a great opportunity to show him flexing and punching the owl. But I mean, the owl did save him. I mean, but he had a gun to him. This is the whole part of the story where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Stephanie Phillips writing, so this is why she's so hot and cold for me. A lot of the things that she starts with, like in the first act of this story, is great. Now this middle act where the owl saves him and there isn't anything deeper, it's starting to miss for me. And now look at you, Omen. You got a busted up nose. You got Daredevil having you by the throat. Um, you had the total upper hand, and now you have no hand. But I guess the point is, uh, in this roundabout way, the owl saving Daredevil. Daredevil kind of knows it, but he can't be like, "Oh, thanks, buddy." They're not friends. The whole point is that the owl thinks that Daredevil is going to owe him a favor, and Daredevil says, you make deals with the devil. It usually doesn't go your way. The devil usually always wins, which goes back to the duality. We see God basically saved Daredevil by inspiring the owl in his heart to not kill him, and then he switches back to devil analogies. So it's a lot of juxtaposition between the good and the evil. This little part was interesting. It made up for uh, their first interactions. Exactly what I said. Daredevil wasn't going to admit that to the owl that the owl saved his life. He can't give up that kind of power to a villain. But he acknowledges himself and knows, he needs to up his game. Speaking of upping his game, is he falling here and reaching out? I don't get this little art frame. It looks like he's tripping and falling. Well, I guess he was falling. And this is the whole point where it ties into the beginning, the first act, where his father was knocked down, but he gets up. Daredevil gets knocked down and he gets back up. Well, why? Well, now we see Stick training him. Stick is bonking him around the head. He's much bigger. The little young Matt Murdock's like, I wasn't ready. Well, Stick's like, so what? So what? You're not ready? So what? You have to always be ready. You're gonna have to learn. Life isn't fair, buddy boy. So Stick says, you're never going to be ready, totally. You know, you're still just a man. You got these great senses, but you're never going to always be ready for everything. The world is too complicated. So he says the resolution is that you got to be tougher. You got to be unbreakable. And that is true about Daredevil. He is the man without fear, but really he's the man with more willpower. He just ain't gonna give up. Him and Spider-Man, they got this never-ending go, 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 keep fighting button. And one of the things that Daredevil realizes, well, he's gotten beat up pretty bad by the Omen 2 or 3 times now. He's gonna have to up his game, up his skills, up his toughness. Young Dominic, the detective, is deciding to do some investigating on his own, which is totally against every protocol of every police department. You gotta go out with a partner. Going out at night, you got no warrant. You're just snooping around. That's another no-no. Well, Callahan, Mr. Mustachio knows that this guy, what he's going to do, so he shows up to support his young partner because he also knows that he's shit at shooting guns. So he needs someone tough there to help him out in case something goes wrong. The detective's young eyes find a little blood on the ground, looks a little too fresh. You think you should keep investigating? Just the two of you? Maybe you should call for backup? Nah, protocol schmotocol. Calling backup is for pussies. Oh, by the way, no gloves needed. I'm just going to stick my disgusting regular hand in this blood to see how fresh it is because that's not contaminating the scene of the crime at all. Well, I wonder who that could be making all that racket. But this is interesting. Look who's got his gun out, and look who doesn't have their gun out. The advice may be a little too late because the Omen is talking that mess. He just took a bunch of gunshots from the owl, and clearly he seems fine. He was fighting Daredevil. You think these two cops, one of them is very bad with the gun, you think they're going to do anything to the Omen? They need to run, is what they need to do. This cop is mortified, as he should be. Look at this character coming at him like a demon. And this is going back to some of these crazy gun laws. Whether you are for or against guns, it's irrelevant. This is a perfect example. If you have, let's say, just a revolver, 5 or 6 shots, even an experienced officer like this, you're under pressure, you're shooting random, you're going to miss a couple, maybe all of those shots, and if you have only 5 or 6, it's not enough. It's not enough. Now, let's say you're untrained and you're not a man, and you have 2 or 3 of these people coming into your house to break in. Well, you 10 shots, it's still not enough. You need as many shots as you can take to protect your life. And now we're going back to this guy, the Omen. What does he do? He takes people's eyes out as an offering that gives him some sort of mystical visions of the future or gives him healing. I don't know, but he's all about taking people's eyes out. And this idiot, Dominic, with his bad gun discipline, drops the freaking gun. He didn't even have the gun out. The worst cop I've ever seen. I mean, this picture sums it up. This dude is a complete pansy wansy. The Omen just ripped out your grizzly mustached partner's eyeballs and holding them like they're tea bags. You got the gun, but you're so afraid you can't even do nothing with it. Oh my goodness, this guy's a joke. Now, make sure you come back for issue number 5. Maybe it's going to wrap up in issue number 5. Maybe it's not. Who knows? The one thing about Daredevil stories is they like to make them slow burns, regardless of who the artist or the writer is going to be. They like to really drag them out, which is fine. Daredevil is, you got to invest in Daredevil to get back what you put in. And here's my honest review. I thought the art is still better than the story. The art is really driving this. And the downfall for this part of the story was obviously the Owl's motivation for saving Daredevil, thinking that he's gonna owe him one. It wound up, I get it. He wanted to get a favor from Daredevil, but it was super clunky in that part. But otherwise, there's still a lot of intrigue with this Omen character, which pumps up the hype for this next issue. I'm interested to see more about the Omen, his backstory, how he became who he is, what's his deal. So make sure you come back for Daredevil number 5. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you real soon. Peace.